Order 66, one of the most pivotal, brutal, and heartbreaking moments in all of Star Wars. For years, we've seen it as the worst and most devastating moment the galaxy ever suffered. But what if I told you it wasn't even the worst clone order? What if I told you there was one more clone order that was even more horrifying? An order that didn't just target the Jedi, but instead innocent people. Well, in this video, we're gonna reveal what this clone order was all about and how deadly it truly was. So let's get right into it. As Palpatine's grand plan came alive, he ensured that each and every clone trooper had an inhibitor chip within their heads. These chips each contained pre-programmed commands into the clones that overrode their free will, which forced them to no longer be themselves. Their personalities, their morals, their individuality, everything was gone. All that remained was absolute obedience. As we then saw without hesitation, they executed the very Jedi they served under for so many years. Years of relationships, friendships, and brotherhood were all gone within mere minutes. However, there is a big difference between just a regular battlefield order compared to the contingency orders like Order 66. The contingency orders that Palpatine created were designed to break the clones' morals so they become nothing more than tools to serve the Empire. As for Order 66's purpose, it was a secret protocol that labeled the Jedi as traitors and ordered the clones to execute them on sight. As we saw, it then forced the clones to kill them in cold blood, regardless of their previous loyalty to them. Only a few clones like Rex were able to resist this, but not for long before the chip took full control. However, as we mentioned at the start of the video, Order 66 wasn't the only order Palpatine created. On top of Order 66, there were a few other ones, including Order 65, which was a cover-up order that allowed clones to arrest or remove the Chancellor from office if he was unfit to rule. This order was designed purely if the Republic or the Jedi ever uncovered the truth. That way it looked like Palpatine wasn't behind it all. Order 62 allowed clones to infiltrate enemy forces, assassinate targets, and disguise themselves to blend in. Order 57 allowed clones to escalate conflicts to total war, including city destruction, civilian targeting, and extreme retaliation against any enemies. Order 88 authorized the use of biological or chemical weapons against enemies, which is quite literally a war crime. Then there were also a few more orders like Order 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, which were purely just simple battle orders like defending command posts and holding positioning. However, while all these orders seemed pretty light compared to Order 66, there was one that was the deadliest of them all, and this order was none other than Order 37. You might be wondering though, what is this order? Well, just like Order 66, Order 37 also involved killing people, but not Jedi. Instead, innocent civilians. However, it works a bit differently. Order 37 was made for the early days of the Empire, where the clones were still around. Its purpose was when the Empire needed to arrest a certain individual, say a criminal for example. If a criminal was on the run, Order 37 could be activated, which would force the clones to seal off local cities or regions into lockdown. However, that's not the worst part. Not even close. See, once a city or region would be on lockdown, the clones would then conduct mass arrests on every civilian and hold each of them hostage until the criminal was found. From there, it would then be broadcasted that the criminal must be turned in, or every civilian hostage would be killed on sight. So in a nutshell, this means that the entire population of a city could be used as leverage to force the surrender of a criminal. But that's not all though. To ensure a smooth process, the Empire would also block all communication, so no information could spread across the news throughout the galaxy. Comms were shut down and the HoloNet news was banned, simply so nobody would know what was going on. If the operation was successful, the Empire would make sure these comms were banned for an entire month. That way they could control the information that was going on and twist the story to their own wishes. Now, once the order was executed and they were trying to find the criminal, the clones had no problem killing every civilian in sight, all to be used as leverage. From there, they would kill thousands of innocent people and never return the bodies to the civilians' families. Then to cover up their tracks, the clones would then burn these bodies on a pyre, kind of like what happened to Qui-Gon when he died. However, although this order could be used for any criminal, it was most likely created in order to hunt down Jedi after Order 66. After Order 66, many Jedi were on the run, so Palpatine wanted to do anything in his power to lure them out. He knew that all the Jedi wanted to do was save others, so by executing Order 37, it would lure those kind-hearted Jedi out to prevent any mass killings. So to summarize the order, it goes as following. Step 1, the Empire looks for a criminal or fugitive. Step 2, the clones arrest hundreds, thousands, potentially even millions of citizens until the fugitive is found. After time, if the fugitive is not found, then the clones begin killing all the hostages they arrested and murder them one by one until the fugitive is found. Once the fugitive is eventually found, the Empire then goes into Step 3. They cut off all comms from the rest of the galaxy for an entire month and twist the story around to make themselves look innocent. Then finally, Step 4, the clones burn all the dead bodies from the hostages on a pyre instead of returning the bodies to their families. And that right there is what Order 37 is all about. Now you might be wondering whether or not this was actually ever performed. Well, it was twice, and let's just say the result was extremely brutal. As for the first time, this took place just a few months after the Empire rose to power, as Order 37 was executed on the planet Balasa. However, here's why. See, the Empire was trying to capture a Jedi Padawan named Ferris Olin, but they couldn't find him. So they rounded up a bunch of civilians in one of the cities on the planet, locked down the city, and placed each civilian into cells. Then from there, they issued a 24-hour ultimatum for the Jedi to surrender. According to one Imperial officer on the planet, this is the official statement they gave.
All Bellicans must return to their homes. No Bellicans will be allowed to leave the planet. USA is in lockdown. Outlanders may approach the checkpoint.
Now, considering that the Jedi are always protecting others, you'd think this Jedi would have turned himself in, but he actually didn't. Instead, Obi-Wan Kenobi himself was the one to make sure he didn't, and here's what he told the Jedi.
They can do whatever they like. Surely you know that by now. They are perfectly capable of executing every prisoner, including you. They know they need to strike fear into the hearts of every person in USA. They want to destroy you, and they want to destroy the spirit of the citizens. Giving yourself up won't save them. I saw a file in the garrison. It dealt with how to hide a great number of deaths, dispose of bodies.
Obi-Wan suspected that the Empire wouldn't honor the ultimatum even if he turned himself in, and would execute all the civilians anyways. As we know, that most likely is true, since from what we know of Order 37, they would dispose all the civilians' bodies and cover it up like nothing happened. So thanks to Obi-Wan, the Jedi survived. But as for the civilians, they sadly suffered a horrifying fate. As for the second time Order 37 was executed, this also took place around the same time period. However, this one took place on the planet of Rasha. Sadly though, we don't know much about what went down there, but we do know that the order was executed and it didn't end well for the citizens there either. Now it is worth mentioning that Order 37 does not exist in canon currently. Instead, it only exists in the Legends novel series, The Last of the Jedi. However, just because it's from Legends doesn't mean it can never appear in canon. As we saw in the show Andor, the Empire would still use similar tactics against innocent civilians, and those soldiers didn't even have inhibitor chips. During the Gorman massacre, thousands of civilians were killed, and meanwhile as it all happened, the Empire tried to cover their tracks by lying to the public. They made it look like the civilians were the aggressors, and in a way it's extremely similar to what happened with Order 37. Now, although we only know of 2 times where it occurred, some fans speculate that it probably happened even more times that we don't know about. Throughout the Clone Wars, there were times where Palpatine would secretly test certain orders to see if they work, and it could be that he did that with Order 37 too. Perhaps against small planets that weren't a part of the Republic, and merely just to see if it would work on a larger scale when the time would come. If he did, it would make sense, because technically there wouldn't be any survivors to share the tale. Again though, this order just proves how evil and manipulative Palpatine was, by creating something as deadly as this. With that, however, that concludes everything about Order 37 and how brutal it truly was. But I want to know from you, although it's gruesome, would you like to see Order 37 in a future show or movie? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and may the Force be with you always.